Imagine this. You set up your altar, you lit the candles, you have some incense going on, maybe some ominous music in the background. You've done your circles, you've done your pentagrams, you've spoken the words, you've done your ritual, and nothing happens. Your magic doesn't manifest. Nothing works. So why could this be? Hi, my name is Fratello. I'm an astrologer. I'm a tarot card reader, and I'm a magician. I want to introduce this world to magic. I want to bring magic into this world because I believe that magic will better this world. Now you're performing magic and it doesn't work, and why can that be? So I'm listing here 5 very common mistakes for aspiring magicians why their spells don't manifest. Number 1, you don't know where to begin. So there are tons of books, and there are a lot of suggestions on forums and groups and chats on what to do, which spell to use, and how to start, what magic is, and so on and so forth. Well, the issue here being that there are reputable sources and some more dodgy sources, so to speak, but you don't know who is who and what is what. So essentially, you begin by perhaps buying books of very old magic, so like the Goetia or books from the Renaissance era, and so on and so forth. Problem here is, these books are hard to read, and if you do try to follow these instructions, you will very quickly notice that these are very insane requests to follow, and seems to be written in that era and for the practitioners of that era. And sometimes there are things that don't seem to match up. Well, and then you might say, let's go for newer books. And the problem here is that especially if you've been practicing magic for several years and you do know your magic, then you will see that there's a lot of authors out there, one-hit wonders, so to speak, that they guide you through the motions, but they don't seem to know what they're speaking about. And what do I mean? So not only are there people who, well, are obviously charlatans. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what magic is. And if they had any spells working, I would probably put them down more to coincidence than anything else. There are also books out there where, yeah, your magic will work, but not in the way you want, and with outcomes where you'd rather have not done the magic. You'll be left drained, and you might even feel that your life is being shattered right in front of your eyes. Then you will obviously come across some very parasitic kind of magicians who put out their sigils, their spells, which are designed to take your life force energy so that they can better perform their own magic. There are enough of them out there. Some of them come as dark groups, so they're very obviously of the darker ilk, but a lot of them come in the form of light and love, and everything is good. So, yeah, this is a jab at the new age, definitely. What you want are established names of the modern era. And who would I mean by that? I mean, Aleister Crowley is an established good name, but he's hard to read and he has contradictions. So go for some of his students, like Lon Milo Duquette. If you want practical magic without a lot of fuss, then I would definitely recommend the Gallery of Magic books. They're absolutely golden. There is one man who has lived magic, who is living proof of magic even, who's called Damien Eccles. You perhaps heard of him as the Memphis Three, as one of the Memphis Three. It's absolutely perfect foundational work in his book High Magic, for example. And no, I'm not getting any royalties or anything out of this. So that's my recommendation for you. That's where you need to start. Then, reason number 2, you have insufficient protection. And I don't necessarily mean that you do the protective rituals before your actual ritual. Yes, you obviously will have to do them 100% of the time, your protective rituals beforehand. But what I also mean is that you protect your own life. So, as I said in the previous point, that there are people who try to suck your life energy from you and transform it to their own needs. This is also true for non-esoteric. Well, they are esoteric, but might get to that in a later video. But in those fields like politics, especially politics nowadays, politics nowadays is a black magic spell, and everyone who's following politics, like their team or whatnot, believe me, you're being vampirized by certain parties and political figures. And it doesn't matter which side you're on, so don't go and believe, oh, it's right versus left or anything. It's nothing of the kind. The true magician is an anarchist, and not a anarcho-communist, because that's politics. I mean, a true anarchist of the ilk that he does not follow a specific group or kind, maybe short term for a short term gain, or long term gain. It doesn't matter. It's about you as the magician, as someone who is on a journey in life, and only you are the one who is on that path. So it is for you to take your path the way you need to take it. So stay away and stay clear from politics. Yes, politics do influence our life, and sometimes we need to push in a certain direction that is mostly the opposite direction. So if magicians do get into politics, it's mostly just the opposition, to push it back into equilibrium, into the middle. Just like Buddha, you have to go and follow the golden middle path, not an extreme. Never go for the extremes. So if anything has gone too far left, push to the right. If anything has gone too far right, push to the left. But never so far that it has to be pushed back again. So that is personal protection, and also protection from your neighbors. You know, those old nosy neighbors who want to know everything about everyone. Don't get into discussions with them. Try to keep your life protected in that way, that you don't give out information, not even out on the internet that much. That is a form of protection. My third point here is that you don't have any clear intention. So what I mean by intention, I mean, obviously you can say, I need money because I have debt, so I'm going to do a money spell. Your intention here is actually not getting money. Your intention here is that the debt is gone, clearing the debt. So you would go for a spell for clearing the debt. I mean, you open up the spell for ways to manifest. I mean, if you just want money, you might get money, but then something else happens, and you get the money, and then it's taxed, and then you still have some debt left or something like that. But if you just go for clearing the debt, well, then you might get the money and some, or due to some legal issues and whatnot, your debt is just simply cleared. So let the magic work its own way into your life. And sometimes, if you do have an intention, this is also sort of like a recommendation. If you want something, write it down, condense it into a single sentence, and let that sentence sit there for an hour or two, and come back to that sentence. And you may want to tweak this one sentence a little bit after those 2 hours sitting around. So, to my point number 4, you doubt your own abilities, you doubt your own magic. So, it is perhaps one of your first spells, and it is natural for us in our current culture to sort of doubt magic. Do we know many magicians? Perhaps if we know, aren't they perhaps just bullshitters? And chances are they are bullshitters. Um, so doubt creeps into our minds. So it's just maybe make believe, and this can't work and whatnot. So, but how do you go around this? The problem here I see is with aspiring magicians is that the first spell they do is for something grandiose, big money, big booty, uh, big fame, or something like that. It's obviously not going to work that way, and it won't work that way, especially if you're a beginner. But it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with skill. It has to do with your belief. And you have to reinforce the belief in magic. So do and perform spells that are of no consequence to you. 3 or 4 spells at once I would recommend. Maybe not on the same day, but like on consecutive days. But yeah, just something like you want $10 in your hand. Don't give it a time constraint or anything. You just want 10 extra bucks. Yeah, and not per month, just $10. Okay. You do that spell, you forget about it because, well, $10 really won't have any consequence, won't better your life, won't make it worse if you don't have it. So one day you're walking your dog like 2 weeks later, and then you just find $10 on the road. There you go, $10. And in that moment is very pivotal, because in that moment you're full of joy, which is great. You're over yourself, you're happy. Um, and then in that moment you realize, oh, that was because of my spell. So you, in that moment, with a huge energy outburst, you have created and reinforced in your subconscious that magic is real and that your magic is real. So that's one of my recommendations here. This ties into my 5th point here, is if you read a lot of books about magic, people do write about you having to forget your magic, and even in forums and groups, no one can actually really explain it to you, but I can, and I will, because I have a little exercise there for you too. So obviously, when you are confident in your magic that it works, you will want to do things that you depend on, like clearing some debt or so. Yeah, so it really, you have a dependency on the outcome. And when you work important magic, then you're supposed to forget it. Now, you're not going to forget your problem. Forget about forgetting it. So what will happen is that you have to trust your magic, and with these small introductory spells, you have a certain trust in your magic. But for the greater ones, you'll still have little doubt and whatnot. So whenever you think about the problem, you get anxious, perhaps. You stop that thought right there. And then you feel thankful towards the magic. Be thankful towards magic, or perhaps the deity, angel, or whatever you've called in that spell. And feel a a sense of gratitude that the magic has worked, and that's this god or whatever has taken care of this spell. So you haven't forgotten it, but you have then fed it with gratitude. It's a very powerful thing already. And some of your workings can be so urgent that you might think 2 minutes later again, but you just repeat the exercise. And you will notice even for the future that if you do this for a few weeks, for a few like very important spells, that you will automatically become calmer about outcomes, even if those outcomes haven't manifested yet, because you're absolutely sure that they will come to pass. So these were 5 common beginner mistakes for aspiring magicians. Not all mistakes, and not the most important mistakes, perhaps, but if you implement these 5 points, then I guarantee you your magic will become better and go to the next level. But if you have an urgent problem now, something of matters of dependency on the outcome, as I mentioned earlier, and you can't wait, like me, 10 years perhaps to become a better magician, then why not get help from a professional magician? I offer spell for hire, so if you're interested in that, send me an email at starsandwands@gmx.net. Tell me about your problem, tell me how I can help you, and we'll see what we can do. But if you aren't sure and you might want to look into the future, what the future holds for you, what the possibilities are, I can look into your astrology, into the stars for you, or we can look into the cards together. Then just visit my website, starsandwands.com, and you can book a reading there with me. So, thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope to see you next time.